to Your High School Sports. I'm your host, Rodney Woods, along with Chris Blevins and Chris Reddick. We are here to talk about all the things happening in high school football in this region. Guys, no holds barred. I can't wait to talk to Bart. His Science Hill Hilltoppers lost a squeaker to Dobbins Bennett. So
it's heartbreaker.
Heartbreaker. So we'll save that till Bart gets on the line. But right now it's time for the Buddies Barbecue Around the Nation and Across the Region report. Let's go with Chris Reddick first.
Chris Reddick, across the nation. Well, you know what? Some teams, believe it or not, just now getting started. You know, across the nation, everybody's a little bit different. So it's been week one for some teams. But anyway, they actually have a poll, and in the top 25, still remaining at number one, IMG. But what I want to talk about, I always like to find a regional team, and we have one just a little under 3 hours away from here. It's a team in Irma, South Carolina called Dutch Fork.
Okay.
Dutch Fork has crossed into the top 25, and they're probably well deserved. They won 30 out of the last 31 games. Nice. They're two-time state champions. So this is a team that's on a rise. So they just cracked the top 25, and guess one of the teams that got booted? Hoover, Alabama is.
Ooh, that's where Jeremy Pruitt was assistant coach at. Hoover, Alabama.
Yeah,
he's out.
Yeah,
they're out.
And we've got a regional team in, so we're gonna follow the South Carolina team, see what they're gonna do.
Awesome.
What's going on around across the?
Well, a little bit of upsets this past week, so we got a few things that we need to talk about. So Jeff County this past week dropped the ball a little bit, losing 28-0 against Bearden. So that's still not a bad loss, but we thought maybe Jeff County had a little bit different. It was obviously a blowout, no scoring on the offensive side of the football. A few more scores to talk about. Morristown West lost to Farragut 42-7. We also had Cobb County, though, on a positive note, which we'll talk about later on in the show, coming with a big win against South Green, 46-7. So we got a big game this next next week.
I'm excited. I'm telling you.
Yeah, but I want to hit on a couple good top performers that I've got from this past week. Xavier Malone, if you remember back at Media Days when we talked to him from Fulton, real strong, big guy, 4-year starter, senior, getting a lot of heavy recruits. He was 13 of 25 for 109 yards, and he also threw for 3 touchdowns on a 21-10 win over Powell. I also have Cade Ballard from Greenville. He just lightened up the scoreboard, guys. I mean, 8 of 9 on 8 passes, though, completed, 230 yards, 4 touchdowns, 69-0 over Union County. So we still got Cade Ballard. I think he's one of the top quarterbacks we have in this region, East Tennessee. But some big games looking forward to. Also, we had East beat Cherokee 24-14, get back in the winners bracket there after a couple of bad losses. And Oak Ridge beat Campbell County 44-14. But looking forward to this next week when we talk about Cobb County a little more. And just remember, Jeff County will be out of our top 10 today because I talked about it last week. If you lose, you're out of our top 10, especially here in the first few weeks. But we'll see if Jeff County can get back in it here this next Friday.
Chris, you have top performers?
Oh, yeah. And Upper East Tennessee, our top performers, man, there was a lot of scoring this week, which gives a lot of people a lot of numbers. So I'll just give you an example. We had sophomore quarterback at Unicoi County, Brock Thompson. 6 out of 7 passes. Guess what? 5 touchdowns.
Wow.
12 minutes, they said, sit down, Brock. We've had enough. So 231 yards, 5 touchdowns. And we also, you know, that game of the week we had last week, that great game between Science Hill and Dobbins Bennett. Well, you know you had some outstanding performers, and one of them happens to be Ian Hicks, 29 for 182 yards, rushing, 1 touchdown, and he also caught a reception for 32 yards, 1 touchdown. And you know what? Defense stopped that Science Hill Hilltopper strong, powerful offense from scoring at the last minute, and it was because of the help of Mr. Nick Copenhagen. He's a guy who made 16 tackles and caused 2 key fumbles to keep Dobbins Bennett in the game. Also, we had Crockett.
Yes.
Probably talk about Crockett a little bit later.
Yeah.
Hey, they've got a hot quarterback. We've talked about this guy a couple of weeks ago, Cade Larkin. 14 out of 20, 296 yards, 4 touchdowns. Nice job. Also, Corey Russell, Mr. Everything. They got him now as running back, as a flanker. He had 2 touchdowns rushing, 2 touchdowns receiving. He does it all. And then we have, of course, someone new.
Yes.
From Sullivan South. This is Luke Pollock. Luke had 178 yards, 3 touchdowns. And that was rushing. He also passed for 2 touchdowns, gives him a total of 5 touchdowns. And then we had Nathan Lane from Johnson County. This guy, he's Mr. Do-It-All. He's an all-purpose guy, too. He did it from kickoff return, receiving, rushing. He did it all, and he had 229 all-purpose yards, 4 touchdowns. And finally, linebacker from Johnson County, defense. This is the man.
Yes, he
22 tackles in one game. That's a season for some people. 22 tackles. Outstanding games, outstanding players this week. Love it. It's football time.
It's football time.
Awesome.
You've been listening to the Buddy's Barbecue. If you're in Sevier County, stop by Buddy's Barbecue and pick up some delicious barbecue. Been sponsoring around the nation and across the region, and our top players of the week. So make sure you stay right here on Your High School Sports. When we come back, Bart Lyons is going to join us. We'll talk a little bit about Bart because he's heartbroken. He said he's going to go out and jump off a bridge Friday night.
Bart's heart.
Bart's heart. Bart's broken. So when we come back, you stay right here on Your High School Sports.
Get the right services you need from a name you can trust at Crescent Center Drugs. Whether it's hormone replacement therapy or if you need to update your immunizations for flu, pneumonia, or shingles, Crescent Center Drugs has a professional and friendly staff always ready to take care of you. That's why for many years, Crescent Center Drugs has been your good neighbor pharmacy. Right now, getting your medicine is fast and easy when you sign up for the IVR system. It's simple. Once your prescription is filled, your box is scanned, and you instantly receive a phone call or text for pickup. Visit Crescent Center Drugs inside the Crescent Shopping Center.
Welcome back to Your High School Sports. On the line with us now is our correspondent up in the Northeast, Mr. Bart Lyons. Bart, I'm glad you didn't jump off that bridge Friday night. You know, we need you on Your High School Sports, but, you know, you guys are just right there at the end. Something's going on. Talk about your Hilltoppers a little bit.
I tell you what, Rod, we're 1 or 2 plays away from being 3-0, and we're 1 or 2 plays away from being 0-3. You know, lost another close one there Friday night with a 24-21 defeat by our rivals, Dobbins Bend. That was the 97th matchup between the 2 schools playing football. So another classic game, no doubt. Unfortunately, the Hilltoppers, we came up on the short end of the stick on this one.
Well, you know, in a game like that, you know, you hate to lose your crosstown rival, but the one thing I can say, it's early in the season, so you guys still have a chance to, especially this coming week, you got Greenville at Greenville, so, you know, that's a game you guys have got to win, correct?
Well, you know, it's not a conference game. It's a non-conference game. So at the end of the day, it really don't factor in too much of our goal of reaching the playoffs and getting on down the road to Cookville. But it is kind of a newly matchup that we've got going up, and you know, Greenville's been good, and man, they've got the gold balls to prove it, and you know, that should be a great game as well. We don't play no scrubs. We don't play any scrubs. Stacey Carter does a great job of finding us the best competition to play, and you know, unfortunately, from time to time, you come in on the short end of the stick sometimes, but we'll regroup. We'll have them ready to go.
All right. Well, give us some insight on some other teams up in the Northeast.
Well, just touching base from last Friday night, David Crockett, that was 55-0 winner over Volunteer Falcons. That's win number 3 for the young, talented, up-and-coming Hayden Shanley. Big T's he's gonna be a really good coach, and he's young and he's fired up, and he's got those Pioneers heading in the right direction. Daniel Boone over Tennessee High, 26-21. That was a hard-fought game as well by the Blazers and the Vikings. Hampton, they've been on a 2-year skid to the Happy Valley Warriors. They was able to get a 17-7 victory over the Warriors. And again, we talked about the Science Hill and Dobbins Bennett game, 24-21 in favor of the Dobbins Bennett Indians. Again, this 97th time they've played one another in football.
All right. Well, tell me one thing. Who is the Bart Lyons, Your High School Sports Player of the Week?
This young man, well-deserved, Ian Hicks, running back from Dobbins Bennett High School, led the Indians with 28 carries, 180 80 yards, caught a 32-yard screen pass for a touchdown. He scored every touchdown for the Indians on Friday night. So that's my player of the week. Very deserving player and a hard-nosed runner. Ian Hicks from Dobbins Bennett.
All right, Mr. Barton Lyons, we appreciate you being a part of this week's Your High School Sports, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys.
Welcome back to Your High School Sports. This is Chris Reddick, and on the line we have head coach of the Science Hill Hilltoppers. We have Coach Stacy Carter. Coach, how's it going?
Oh, going fine. How you doing today, Chris?
Doing great. Well, Coach, let's get right into it. I just wanted to kind of play off some words that Bart said a little bit earlier in the show. He said Science Hill Hilltoppers is a team that could easily be 3-0 or 0-3, but unfortunately you're kind of in the middle. You're 1-2, and I'm sure that's not where you want to be. Talk about a little bit what's going on with Science Hill at this point and some things they need to change.
Well, we're a young team, and we've had some unfortunate things that happen, and we've created some of those. But the big thing is we've lost 2 games within 5 points, and it's amazing what 5 points means, but to a whole team. But it really has. It's adversity that we're in right now, that we're going through, and we're not going to stay here, but we're in it now. Yeah. And it's a valley we're having to fight through. And unfortunately, this game's a humbling game, and just like life is, and it's put us through this humbling experience, and we just got to fight out of this. We got to fight out of this and get out of this and learn from it. And again, like I say, it's a humbling game, and it teaches you a lot about life, and not just players, but coaches also. So, this is something we're going to go through, and we're not going to stay in it. Like I say, it's adversity. It's something we're going through, but we'll definitely get out of this.
Real quick, I know we're just about out of time. Big game coming up against Greenville, and I know, Coach, you probably got one of the toughest schedules here in this area. And it, of course, gets a little bit tougher once again this week. What are you going to have to do to prepare for a team like Greenville that seems like they have all cylinders running? They've kind of cruised through their schedule, and they've played pretty tough schedule at this point. But what are you going to have to do to beat a team like Greenville?
Well, first you got to go in there, and you can't make these mistakes that we've been making. And we're going to have to go in there. You're going to have to run the ball. You're going to have to run the ball consistently, which we did not last Friday, and that was the difference. You're going to have to be, mix it up. You're going to have some people make some plays. Anytime like you play a good team like that, you're going to have to make some plays. But I think the 2 things is you're going to have to make some plays downfield, and you'll have to run the ball consistently. If not, it'll be a long night. Yeah. And that's what it was. And really, we go back to the first game, that wasn't a problem. We run the ball, very effectively, but by not running the ball real good last week, it put us behind the sticks, and it was just, we didn't help our defense out any. So I think that's the key of the game. And the other game, the key is, just stopping the run, and that's a big thing. And last year Cade, had a big night running against us, and we've got to make sure that we, neutralize that. The thing about Cade though is he can throw also, so it's he can do both. But you're going to have to do something to make them one dimensional. If you let them sit back there and you let them run the ball and throw the ball at their kind of doing that and getting in a rhythm doing that, they've really put people in a bind. So we got to find some way to take one of those away from them.
Well, Coach, I know we're out of time, but you guys are our game of the week. Science Hill Hilltoppers taking on the Greenville Green Devils. That's going to be an exciting one, so I hope everyone gets a chance to come out and see you guys play. Coach, thanks for taking a little bit of time to be on Your High School Sports.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate you.
All right, good luck to you.
Get the right services you need from a name you can trust at Crescent Center Drugs. Whether it's hormone replacement therapy or if you need to update your immunizations for flu, pneumonia, or shingles, Crescent Center Drugs has a professional and friendly staff always ready to take care of you. That's why for many years, Crescent Center Drugs has been your good neighbor pharmacy. Right now, getting your medicine is fast and easy when you sign up for the IVR system. It's simple. Once your prescription is filled, your box is scanned, and you instantly receive a phone call or text for pickup. Visit Crescent Center Drugs inside the Crescent Shopping Center.
Welcome back to Your High School Sports, coming to you right here on Fox 39 in the Tri-Cities. So we want to make sure, guys, this top 10, but that's a little bit later in the show. Because, Chris, what'd you say? If you lose, you're out?
Always.
All right, that's our top 10. That's one criteria, but as the season goes on, things happen.
And they can fight their way back.
You can fight your way back in.
Yeah.
But before we kick into the top 10, we're going to talk about the Ball Corporation Games of the Week. And we got some good ones. Ooh. Do we? We got Sevier County traveling up to DB. Sevier County, you've seen Sevier County play. You know about what they've got. And Dobbins Bennett. Look at Dobbins Bennett, okay?
I mean, I know Chris will talk a little more about Dobbins Bennett, but Dobbins Bennett's on a roll right now. They got a big momentum booster beating Science Hill this past week, and I know that's a momentum game that can dictate your season. Sevier County is a little bit on a lull right now. They're probably looking for a big time turnaround here, but going to Dobbins Bennett in front of those lights on Friday night and Dobbins Bennett on the momentum they got, I'm going to give the edge to Dobbins Bennett this week, but I bet Sevier County will fight to the end, but Dobbins Bennett's going to come out strong.
This has always been a classic game for the last few years, the Sevier County Dobbins Bennett game. And like Chris said, with Dobbins Bennett being back on the rise, you got to watch out for them. This is something they did last year. They kind of came out of the box a little staggered, a little rusty. Record didn't look too good, but I kept telling people, because I was watching Dobbins Bennett, I've been to a few of those games, I said, Dobbins Bennett is a sleeper team. They're about to crack. Just watch them. And they almost won the conference last year. And I think that's the same thing that's happening now. Let's forget about that Greenville debacle where they lost real bad. Let's talk about where Dobbins Bennett is now. And they've got horses for running backs. And the key horse is Ian Hicks. And you saw what he did against Science Hill last week, and they're going to keep feeding this guy, giving him the ball, and you know what they're doing on defense. Defense is now stepping up, doing what they're supposed to do. Sevier County has a great, outstanding quarterback with Burden. But you know what? I think Dobbins Bennett's going to, like he said, playing under the big lights. It's like playing College Stadium. It's going to be a little too much.
Plus, Ian was our Bart Lyons player of the week.
Oh, yeah. And
Player of the week.
He's going to do work.
So he'll do work.
Yeah, give him the ball. Feed him.
Now, this is a big game, because we have to put it in there. It's not a Tri-Cities game, but it is a big game statewide. It's number 1, Class 3A, Alcoa, versus number 1, 6A, Class Maryville. And if you don't know that rivalry, fans, it's in Blount County. Both of these schools is in the same county. And they're ranked number 1. They got how many gold balls?
Between them, almost 30, 40.
So we had to put that game in here.
Greedy.
We had to. So I'll start with you, Mr. Blevins.
I'm not sure what the score will be, but I know Maryville is loaded again this year, along with Alcoa. High-powered offenses on both sides of the ball. I think defense will be the key to this game. Who can stop whoever's offense? And I really probably put the edge to Maryville again because they're the home team again. So offensive, high-scoring game. What defense can stop the offense is what I'm thinking. I'm going with Maryville.
Boy, you know what? Alcoa, I'm really rooting for Alcoa here. It's been a while since Alcoa has got a win. I know this is a nasty, ugly rivalry. You want to, throw records out. But their records are always clean going into this game. So it really just comes down to who wants it. I mean, that's, I tell you what, where are they playing this year?
Playing at
Maryville.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, I was trying to give Alcoa the edge, but I'm going to have to give the edge.
It's not happening.
Yeah.
Not happening. All right, GP versus Hampton.
Oh, gosh.
Hampton, a big win last week.
Hampton, big week, and I want to say me and Chris both picked Hampton last week, and that was basically a flipping a coin. But Hampton is a good football team, and I also got a high-powered offense. GP, again, I don't know if they play the caliber that Hampton has. Again, it's at Hampton again. Home team at this part of the season goes, I'm taking Hampton again.
You saw GP last week.
Yeah, I saw GP last week. Hampton had a tough win. They were down. They had lost the last 2 years against Happy Valley, but Happy Valley is not the same team they were last year, so this was more of a defensive battle this year. Hampton was able to squeak it out, which gives them momentum going to this GP game. But you know what? I got to see GP. That was our Your High School Sports Game of the Week last week, and GP looks really good. I don't know if it's because Northview was really bad or if GP really looked good. But I tell you what, for what I saw, they've got a quarterback that does a real good job at GP. And the running game was pretty solid too. And the quarterback also can run. So if GP, they got momentum on their side, but GP may come in and spoil this one. You go Hampton, I'm going GP.
All right, now this game here, Daniel Boone versus your Elizabeth Cyclones. That's a good one. What are you gonna say?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good matchup on paper, and Daniel Boone's got off to a great start. But Elizabeth and Coach Witt and the boys, they got it at running back, they got it at quarterback, they got it at receiver, they got it at defensive end, tackle, cornerback.
Got the whole team.
There's not much you're going to be able to do with him, and I think that Elizabethton will overpower Daniel Boone in this game come Friday.
Here's the thing. Elizabethton's had Daniel Boone's number for a long time. I think Daniel Boone, just in the history of the battle, they may have won once or twice. I saw Daniel Boone beat them once. And I don't know if they've won any more past one, maybe two, but definitely no more than two. But I did see one, and I'm talking about in the history of this battle, even back when I played. So with that being said, this game is back in Daniel Boone. And this is a different Daniel Boone team than we've seen in the past. They've got big Charlie Cole. This guy is big running back, like an NFL running back. I mean, he's like 6+, 200+, and he's crushing people. And that's who did damage against Tennessee High to help get that win. But also, you got to look out for Daniel Boone's quarterback. This guy is quick, he's shifty, he's fast, he can make moves. He dashed off to a 70-yard touchdown against Tennessee High, helped cap that win. So we're playing, and this is hard to even say because I'm a Cyclone. This is me. This is my team. I always give them the V. But we're playing in Daniel Boone. And they're both undefeated, and there's a lot at stake, even though they're not in the same conference, but there's a lot of pride at stake. And like I said, it's just the history of them playing back and forth. So it's going to be a tough battle, and I've seen the Cyclones go in there and kind of squeak out wins at times when they should have actually won with bigger numbers, and they squeak. So it's a tough place to play. With that being said, though, I've got to stick with Corey Russell and Everett Perkins and all the rest of the
Cyclones.
crew. And,
he's picking.
Give it to him.
All right, now the game. Bart talked about it a little bit when he talked to us, but Science Hill travels down to number 1 4A Greenville Green Devils, and it is a hard place to play in Greenville. And Science Hill's coming off a bad loss.
Well, let me get right into this real quick. Let me tell you, Science Hill is got beat by Elizabethton. They've got beat by Dobbins Bennett. They're going to come out hungry this game. They're going to go to Greenville under the bright lights. They're going to line up against them. They're not going to back down. It's one of those games that you show up for. I think Science Hill has everything it takes to beat Greenville. Not so fast.
That's what
Cade Ballard's going to play 4 quarters this game instead of 2 quarters that he's been playing before. He's going to throw for 5 touchdowns plus this game, and Greenville comes back out and beats Science Hill in 4 quarters.
But he's got to play 4 quarters.
He's going to play 4.
All right, Coach Ballard, he's got to play 4 quarters.
All right, so Chris says he's got to play 4 quarters. And he may have to, because I tell you what, Coach Carter, he's noticed some things. I know Coach Carter was really excited at the beginning of the year about this team. He said it had talent like no other, and that is true. I mean, A.J. Stewart and all those guys, Chris Thompson, I mean, they're putting up numbers consistently. And like Bart said a little bit earlier, this team could easily be 3-0 or 0-3. So I think what's frustrating with Coach Carter is that he doesn't like that type of team of on the line. I mean, nobody likes a team on the line. I mean, that's not how Science Hill plays. Science Hill likes to know that they're going to go in and win. So this is a key game for them to get things worked out, and what better way to try to work things out and play top-notch ball, but against a team like Greenville, because you get a win over Greenville, that sets the tone for them to play these other, because let's be honest, Science Hill's teams, the teams they play are much tougher than the teams Greenville are going to play the rest of the season from this point on.
Yes.
So Science Hill's going uphill as Greenville's going to kind of cruise a while until that big game, but we won't talk about that
later.
But Science Hill, I tell you what, if they can correct it, just a few things, and defense is kind of the key. If that defense can just tighten up and find a way to keep Cade Ballard in the game for 4 quarters, it can be anyone's battle. Last year, Science Hill lost heartbreaker to Greenville. This year, it's going to be even tougher, Science Hill. How much time do I got to call this one?
No, you right now. You're on the clock. You're on the clock. Chris Reddick is on the clock. He's not going to call it.
I want to say Greenville, but you know what? Shocker!
Science Hill. All right, you heard it right there. You make sure you stay with us because when we come back, we're going to unveil the top 10, your high school sports top 10 coming up next right here on Your High School Sports.
Get the right services you need from a name you can trust at Crescent Center Drugs. Visit Crescent Center Drugs inside the Crescent Shopping Center.
Welcome back to Your High School Sports. Time for the top 10. I'm going to run them down real quick, guys. We've already decided this is the top 10. So if you'd like to comment on it, go to yourhighschoolsports.com. Put your comments on it. Tell me why your team should be in it. So, number 1, Maryville, Greenville, Alcoa. Number 3, that'll change this week. Knox Fulton, Elizabethton still hanging in our number 5. Knoxville Austin East, Knoxville Farragut, Anderson County, Knox Catholic, and we have a 3-way tie for number 10. Can you believe this? 3-way tie.
What are the
Cobb County, Davy Crockett, and Daniel Boone.
Wow. Okay. Those are teams that are undefeated.
It might be the first time in our top 10 in the past 6 years.
Yes,
That's
we've had a tie.
I don't think we've ever named
Never, no.
But well deserved for them to be knocking on the door.
Very.
We're going to find out a little bit later what's going to happen with these 3 teams.
Yep,
Starting this week.
because they actually start playing each other.
Yeah, plus Boone's got the tough one this week with the Cyclones, so we're going to find out what's going to really happen. But congratulations to Boone, though, over that win against Tennessee High. That showed a lot.
If you would like to comment or if you'd like any suggestions, anything about Your High School Sports, go to yourhighschoolsports.com, and there's a comment section on there, so just comment and make sure you go there and see Bart Lyons' Player of the Week.
Player of the Week.
All right, so for Chris Blevins.
Oh, we got a little time, don't we, for a little UT?
Yeah, talk about it. Y'all got a few minutes. Y'all got a few seconds.
There ain't much to talk about except for the fact that you got to look for the positives, what it was. West Virginia's a good football team. They had a Heisman Trophy top caliber quarterback on the other side, and he performed in all aspects of the game. Tennessee, gosh, they're just going to have to come out tougher. If you watch the LSU game that came on just the other night, that's how we need to play. Hard-nosed football, and I think Coach Pruitt is going to work towards that.
I think so, too.
And I think this week against ETSU we'll get a big win. Then we got a big win against UTEP. Then we're going to come into a big test against Florida.
Wait a minute. Chris has confused me. He said, we're going to get a big win. See, he went to ETSU.
Along with you.
Yeah, but he's a UT fan, so when he says, we're going to get a big win, I don't know what that means. Which we?
Either way, I'm going to win.
Easy to say. I'm listening to the word.
We'll see you next week right here on Your High School Sports.